How to find cash buyers for your wholesaling deals for free. Guys, it's Rick Ginn, and today we're talking all about cash buyers. Yes, we have to have cash buyers to have a successful wholesaling business. One of the biggest questions I get from you guys is, Rick, how do I get cash buyers without spending any money? Now, I'm going to give you both ways, but I'm going to give you the free way first because, in my opinion, this is kind of the easier part of the business. So, follow this. It works like a charm. And understand you can also go over to freewholesaling.com and we walk you through in much greater detail on how to get every type of cash buyer known to man, free and paid. So we're going to focus on free today and let's show you how to get it. Now, a biggest question I get is, Rick, should I be starting out getting cash buyers or should I wait till I get a deal? And it's kind of like, did the chicken come first or did the egg come first? Honestly, there's no wrong way to do it. I will tell you this. If you proactively look and market for deals for motivated sellers and you hunt and vet quality cash buyers, it's going to give you the best result. Because here's what happens. A lot of you guys get something under contract, but you didn't spend any time with your cash buyers. And then you have no idea if it's a good deal. You can't even talk to your cash buyers to even run a property idea, not even an address, just a property type buy them to see if you're even in the ballpark. So the best way to do it, in my opinion, is build your cash buyers list while you're going out and actively seeking motivated sellers, because it doesn't feel overly productive in the beginning because let's face it, you don't have a lot of product, but you've got to go get your customers. So the first thing we have to understand when talking about cash buyers is we have to understand who is actually the customer. And this is easy, okay? Your cash buyers are your customers, hands down. So I've been doing this 21 years, and there's a very large group of wholesalers that went out there and told everyone, don't worry about your cash buyers. They're a dime a dozen. Just use them, abuse them, and when they don't work out, just go find another one. The problem is if you're going to be in this business for the long run, you can't have that mentality because you will never last. Now, I don't want you to give properties away, but I want you to do what's best for the deal, for you and your cash buyer. Let's face it, guys, cash buyers are buying your properties for one reason and one reason only. It is to make a buck. If there is no profit in the deal, you're literally wasting your time. And I don't know why people don't understand that in wholesaling. There was about a 5-year period where people had no regard for profit. They just put deals under contract. Cash buyers didn't care. They figured they're going to make, the demand was through the roof. Those days are over, guys. You can't do that anymore. So we have to buy value based on what we see today. You have to establish your customers. So what I want you to do while you actively start your marketing over at freewholesaling.com, and trust me, you have to market, is I want you to set up your cash buyers. And you don't have to do a million phone calls. It's 20 to 30 phone calls a day through your cash buyers, which are going to show you how to get. And you just go through and vet them. And how you do it? They're common sense questions. What areas do you buy in? What types of properties? What's your average price range? Stuff like that. If I have a property in the next 30 days, can I present it to you? Do you have a proof of funds? Really simple stuff. And when you set it up, when you get a deal, even if you don't get the property under the right contract, if you have a great relationship with your cash buyer, they will give you intel on what properties think are going to work and which ones they know aren't going to work. And they'll tell you, cash buyers will always do one thing right off the bat. They'll tell you what they don't want. And honestly, it'll save you a lot of aggravation. Now, keep in mind, we pick the areas where we market to our houses, but the motivated sellers wind up picking us. So how do we know to go to the right area? You have to work a great cash buyers list. So I want you to do it simultaneously when you're working on these deals, because it makes a tremendous difference in your wholesaling business. And number two, it's also going to point you in the right direction, give you the right price points, and you'll have cash buyers ready to go. And if you have cash buyers ready to go for your wholesale deals, it's going to cut down that stress on you trying to get that property churned before the expiration period that's up on it or the contingency period. If you don't have cash buyers, you're going to max that out and it's going to stress you out. So either way you do it, it's not wrong, but one is much more satisfying and is going to make you a better wholesaler in the long run. And that's doing your cash buyers list while you're out marketing to motivated sellers. So I've had people do it both ways, but I'm just telling you, one is going to be better for the business in the long run. So if you haven't gone out and getting cash buyers, I want you to go ahead and start and make that commitment on doing it today. Nobody can run a good wholesaling business without cash buyers. It just does not exist. You have to understand that. So once we get our cash buyers, your next job, so that you understand they are your customers, you have to understand this. You have to gather intel from your cash buyers. Now, what do I mean by intel? You've got to get all the buying criteria in the buy box. The price points they're looking to buy. Are they landlords? Are they fix and flippers? They're either going to be A or B. They're very rarely both. And then you're going to find out what kind of rehab projects do they have crews, and they'll tell you the price points they want to be at. And this is going to give you more confidence to interject this into your wholesale marketing. So you are marketing in the right areas, that there's the right demand for the cash buyers. And remember, guys, I'm just going to remind you over and over, cash buyers only buy from you because they believe they're going to make money off of you. If you leave no money in these deals, they're an absolute nightmare. So that's what we need to do. So let me just type this up here. Perfect. So once we understand that, we gather as much intel as we can. I'm not asking you to be best friends with your cash buyer. You just have to have a professional relationship. So when you need to lean on them and get a deal move fast, they're much more apt to work with you because, number one, they've already met with you. They understand your personality and they understand the type of deals you bring to the table. Once you get past all the proofing, the proof of funds, and hey, are you a real cash buyer? Hey, are you a real wholesaler? Then when a deal comes, it goes so much faster. And guys, if you're ever going to do reverse wholesaling, which I've done a ton of videos on this as well, you have to have one of the best cash buyers lists you can ever have, because you're going to do it in reverse order. And the only way you can do it in reverse order is you have to have a great cash buyers list. So don't forget that and keep that in here. So let's talk about how do we get cash buyers? I know this is not the most exciting topic, but you need to know how to do this. So the first and easiest way to get cash buyers, I'm just going to shortcut you to the easiest way to get cash buyers. You ready? I'm just like cutting to the end of the video. If I only had one technique to teach you to get cash buyers, other than combing the cash sales, which is usually a paid service, so I'm not talking about that today, I would tell you to go to your title companies. And I use the word plural. Why? Title companies have their pulse on every cash buyer in your given area. End of story. They know who it is. So a good title company will probably do 60, to 90 deals a month. Somewhere in those numbers. I rarely ever exceed 100. But if they do, just say even 50 plus deals, and 10%, 10 or 15% of them are cash, then they know who the cash buyers are. In fact, they know everything you want to know about a cash buyer. Now, you can't use this technique if you've never done business with a title company or you just started out. You have to work your way into this. Okay. It's just like dating someone. You gotta get to know them. You gotta go to a common party, and then you kind of ask them out. Same thing with a title company. So if you're just starting out with a title company, you're new to wholesaling, don't go straight to them and go, give me all your cash buyers and give me your best ones right now. It's not going to work. What I want you to do is develop a relationship with your title company. You'll usually be on a first name basis with the employee that's responsible for your files. And as you develop a relationship, you ask them more and more about the best cash buyers in that area. And after a while, they will hand you 5 or 6. I'm just talking about grade A, top-notch cash buyers that close on time, on the dot, and they know exactly what they want. And if they go ahead and vet for you, it will be an amazing contact for you. So, so that's going to be it. So if you understand that, Title companies are phenomenal. And listen, don't just stick with your own title company. Find resourceful ways for you to connect with other title companies that your friends do business with. Anywhere, the more title companies you connect with, the more cash buyers you're going to find. Now, you'll find a common thread on like the real big cash buyers. So I'm a big cash buyer in the St. Lucie County area. So every title company kind of knows about me, but they know what my demands are, and they're tough. But when they have a deal that needs to move fast, that there's a lot of money on the table, and they just want to get their title fees, they call Rick right away because I've established a relationship with all of them. I want you to do the exact same thing. So title companies are absolutely huge. The next one, often overlooked, but extremely valuable. And if you haven't done this, I want you to try this out because it has multiple benefits for you. Real estate auctions. You're like, Rick, the hell are you talking about? Real estate auctions. Yes, there are real estate auctions in your area where they sell properties. They're typically landlord type properties. They're not the highest end properties. And most of these auction companies are a family business, meaning they've been passed down generation to generation. They have a long marketing track record, and they typically do the auctions on Saturdays, usually, from I believe around 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Now, these aren't high-end homes, but I'm going to be honest with you. I've gone out to these auctions, and I've recently gone to one, and literally 100 people will show up for one property. And you know what that means to me? I'm excited because only one person is going to be happy when they leave that auction. And guess who's walking away with 99 other cash buyers? That's me. Now, there's a couple rules to this engagement. Number one, don't be so blatantly obvious in gathering cash buyers information. So there's usually a registration page at a desk. There's usually a nice young man or lady who registered. Please don't go up there and take a picture of that because that is stealing proprietary information. And that's the fastest way to get you kicked and banned out of the auctions. What you want to do is get there a half hour before the auction, view the property. And I also like to get a feel for what people want to pay for that property. A little hint, most real estate auctions are extremely overpriced properties. So if they're willing to pay at that auction, I know when I present them a deal, they'll be really excited. So that's what I like to find. Number two, I like to go around and talk to the cash buyers, see if they like to buy in that area, what their price points are. And it's really exciting because I get a lot of intel in there. It's kind of cool because you do hang out with other wholesalers and other cash buyers, and everybody kind of knows everybody in the business. So if you want to have one of the most natural, authentic networking groups, go out to these real estate auctions. Now, you can find them in your newspapers. Usually all you have to do is register with these auctions online. And I think every Tuesday or Wednesday, I get a notice of everything being auctioned off that Saturday. And they go from house to house. It's actually pretty cool. So it's a great way. I have bought houses like this when the market was down, never when the market's up. And based on the amount of buyers that show up, I can get a feel for what properties, what areas properties are moving on. It is a phenomenal tool to gather information on your cash buyers, and which is going to lead me to the next one, which is really, really important. On the real estate auctions, I really found out what the value of working with realtors and brokers are. Now, you're like, Rick, we're talking about cash buyers. Why are you talking about realtors? When I used to go to these cash buyers auction, which I recently went to one, I need to go film one and go out there and do it, but I get in trouble when I do it, is I found cash buyers, and they were usually nicely dressed people, and they were bidding on the properties, and I was confused. I thought it was a cash buyer. It wasn't. It was a real estate agent. And what happened is the real estate agent would be sent there by their cash buyer. They tell them, hey, here's the price range. Here's what it looks like. Here's the cash flow on it. Do you want to make a bid on it? The cash buyer tells the realtor or the broker to go out and take a look at the property, take some extra pictures, and bid, and don't go higher than this number. Why I love this is because they go to these auctions because the buyers don't want to go, and they make a bid. Now, if you understand how these bids go, it's basically a cash auction, and um, the auction services gets 10%. That's their fee. So if a house sells for $100,000, they get 10% of that. Pretty significant, 10K. It's a big fee. But the thing is, a lot of the houses are on the lower end. Sometimes they're like $50,000, $60,000 houses. So it could be a low fee. So they put 10% on it. And they say it's an absolute auction. So just so you know, an absolute auction is when the house is going to sell regardless of what price is listed. But usually the owner, one of the owner's representatives there, they'll always put in a safe bid to cover their butt. So it's not really authentic absolute bid as you think it is. And then once they do it, so if the house sold for say 80 grand, the purchase price would be 80,000. You have to add $8,000 onto it. So it's $88,000 and you have 30 days to close. You don't close in 30 days. You lose your non-refundable deposit. It's that simple. It does have to have clear title. So you do have protections here, but I found out that these brokers and realtors are bidding for the cash buyers. And what better way to get a cash buyer when a realtor is making all the decisions? In fact, I love this. So I found out how to work with cash buyer real estate agents through auctions. Now, take it to the next level and reach out and find cash buyer realtors that represent their cash buyers. Now, the secret to this is it doesn't cost you any money, but it's going to cost you time. Find someone that's got a real estate license, access to MLS, and have them pull up all the cash sales within the areas that you want to market your properties. And look for the ones that have multiple cash sales. And when they have multiple cash sales, it means they mostly specialize in representing cash buyers. And the reason why I like using them, and you're thinking, well, Rick, I got to pay a 5 or 6% fee. Forget about the commission. It's worth it. Let me tell you why. When you pay a realtor a commission for a cash buyer, you skip the drama line. The realtor's not going to give you drama because they just want to get the deal done. Realtors love to do these cash deals because they deal with homeowners all day long that are nitpicked on inspections and financing, and they want like ridiculous retail numbers. So if they could do a fast, like landlord type property on a cash sale, they are ecstatic. And keep in mind, you don't ever meet with the buyer, the cash buyer. You talk or you converse with the agent. And remember, the agent's just verifying the deal's real and verifying you can actually take it down. Because the reality, without us wholesalers, a lot of these cash buyer agents wouldn't have deals to bring to the table because it's hard for them to find off-market properties because they have to spend their own money marketing. So once they get these deals, it's like golden to them. I don't have to deal with the drama buyer. We come up with a number, we pay them their commission, and on average, I will get 10% more than I get without a realtor. I want you to understand that. I get 10% more by paying a realtor between 4 and 6% commission. That's right. They pay more, they go faster, and it's drama free. This is why I love any type of real estate auction, because I can get a combo of title companies, auctioneers. I can get real estate agents that represent cash buyers, and I can get full on real cash buyers. It is one of my favorite ways to do it. So guys, what I'm going to do is use the comments, put your questions in there, and I will ask questions as I pull them up. And I'm also going to put a link on here. If you guys want to do a one-on-one, as soon as I'm done here, you can hop on, click on that link under Rick Ginn and register at StreamYard, and we can hop on and do a one-on-one. So let me hop back. I see your questions. And so realtors and brokers, that is one of the big ones. The other ones, which goes without saying, is social media, guys. It's free. You got to use it. Rick, how do I use social media to find cash buyers? It's simple. I want you to join networking groups in real estate, specifically any type of real estate for discounted properties, landlord types of properties, even wholesale type properties. And I want you to look for cash buyers in there. You're looking for cash buyers' names, email addresses, and phone numbers. Now, you can scrape that data, copy and paste, and build an amazing lead list to call in cash buyers. You can also make posts looking for cash buyers in this area for these types of properties. Please drop me a DM if you want to be registered. Remember, guys, Just because they do a DM, just because they give you a text, you still have to vet them. What do I mean by that? You have to actually pick up the phone and you have to call them. End of story. That's what you have to do. If you don't do that, you're wasting your time with the cash buyers. So that is going to be the key. Social media is just going through scraping, making posts. And keep in mind, a lot of cash buyers, when you do it, a lot of them are going to be wholesalers that are representing themselves as cash buyers. So let me give you a little bit of a trick here to vet anybody that you're talking to, a cash buyer. Because guys, you're in 2024. This is the age of basically everybody is a cash buyer. Do you understand that? When I started in wholesaling, this wasn't a problem. Now it's a very big and predominant problem. So when we talk about cash buyers is when you ask, hey, are you a cash buyer? 100% of them are going to say yes. So if you want to get around that little thing and you just don't want a bunch of wholesalers on your list, what I want you to understand is you want to make sure your cash buyer owns at least 2 houses. You can't fake it. You're in the day and age in the internet where everybody fakes everything. Every watch set you see is fake unless they show you a receipt, period. It's too easy to fake a watch. It's too easy to fake the financing or the leasing of a high-end car, a boat. Anybody can sublease or lease a house to make it look. Listen, here's a little hint. If you want to know how a scam artist works, if they have one really nice thing in their life, either a car or a house, every photo shot they do has that in the background. That is not normal. That's what people do to brag, to get ego, so it sucks you in to buy a course. If you guys fall for these fake watch collections, it doesn't even make sense. I want to see, show me the business that bought the watches and then show me the receipts of the watches, then we can have a discussion. But you're never going to get that. If you see one person who shoots like 80 shoots a day in their leased house, tell them to show you a deed of the house. A leased house, anybody can lease a house. It is not hard to do. Anybody can do an Airbnb. You guys got to know, the more bling you see on the internet, the more you're getting punked. End of story. It is the truth on it. So here's what you do to vet anybody that says they're a cash buyer. Make sure they own 2 houses. You can use it as a filter on the services that you pay for. The reason for this is because that you just can't fake it. And by the way, every day I sit in my office and I hear fake cash buyers all day long, and they struggle so bad. Hey, give me the 2 last HUDs you did, or show me 2 properties you currently own. You just told me you guys own 18 properties. 2 should be a breeze. If they stutter, they hesitate, understanding you don't have a real cash buyer, you just have someone who's trying to do what you do. And I do give them effort for trying it, but it's not going to work in your system. You can't sell your properties to other wholesalers on average. It usually just doesn't work out. Sorry, it's just true. You can JV with them, but when you try to go head to head with another wholesaler, it's usually not going to work out well for you, especially when they start off lying to you, saying they're the real cash buyer and they don't have 2 nickels to rub together. So if you understand that going into it, you understand exactly how it works. Dose houses, 2 houses. Show me 2 houses or 2 HUDs to make sure you're a real cash buyer. I would do this with my eyes shut. I do it all the time. And if someone can't do this and they get so how do I know they're not a cash buyer? When they get really defensive, or they tell you their information's private, or they tell you it's complicated. Run. Those are keywords. They might as well say, I don't have any money. They're not cash buyers. And you got to understand that you guys get so frustrated because you think you're dealing with cash buyers. It's bad enough you got to waste your time with a lot of tire kickers that you thought were motivated sellers. But when people tell you they're cash buyers and they're like 15-year-old kids in their basements with like no money, and they talk you out of like getting in your position in your contract, you've got to vet them. Easiest way, 2 houses, dose. Show it to me. Either show me HUDs or show me deeds. Let's go. By the way, anybody on the internet showing you their fancy house and they're like, my crib, tell them to show you the deed first, then show me the house. People fall for this all the time. It just drives me nuts. So let's think about that. So now we've got multiple sources, and I'm going to let you know of another source. This one is a little bit different. It's actually not paid for. It's free. So listsource.com. If you go there, I don't even think you have to register an account. It's owned by CoreLogic. You can actually go in there and pull a cash list, not pay for it. And if you use the partial suppression at the very end, I did an entire video on this on Flip with Rick. It will break down the most recent cash sales in that given zip code, city, or county. Why? Because if I'm going to go and do virtual wholesaling, I can now identify demand of cash buyers by using this free tool, listsource.com. Guys, it's worked. I used this long before PropStream was around, Deal Machine was around. It still works to this day. It's just not cost effective. But identifying cash buyer demand in the areas where they're buying, to me, it's the best tool out there. Number one, it's free. And number two, it's 100% accurate. So check it out. I have an entire video on it, Flip with Rick. You can work in list source. And what this is going to do is identify where demand is. So if I did an entire county and I broke down all the zip codes, you'll see 0 sales here, 1 here, 2 there, 1 here, 0, and then you'll see 19. When I see 19 and everything else is between like 1 and 3, 19 is the zip code I want to go in and market like crazy. Why? That's where all the cash buyers are doing it. I don't know what's going on there. You can dig in deeper. You can get more information on it. But identifying what your customers, the areas they're buying and the price points they're buying, that is extremely valuable information. So check it out, listsource.com. I did an entire video on it. It's actually really cool and it's free. Don't pay for it. Just get the report. You're looking for data. You're not looking, you're looking for the reports on data. So you don't have to pay for it if you do the partial suppression on that one. Keep that one in mind. So list source on that. Now, guys, what do we do when we get our cash buyers? It's real simple. You just skip trace them. DMZack.com, the easiest one in my opinion, through Deal Machine. Just go get their number and just simply have a phone conversation with them. And what are we going to do? We're going to call and vet our cash buyers. I didn't say we're going to text them. I didn't say we are just going to send them a letter. You actually have to get on the phone. It's going to be a 5 to 10 minute phone conversation for a real cash buyer. If they're not a legit cash buyer, they're going to sing, dance, and try to avoid everything in their human power not to talk to you or basically lie to you. And that's where you have to avoid that part of it. And if you understand that, you get through it. A real cash buyer will take 5 minutes with you, answer your questions for you. And if he thinks you are going to be a value to their business, they will hear you out all the way. So I want you to keep that in mind. Now, you can break it down. The cash buyers by county is the biggest one, city and zip code. I prefer zip code. My absolute favorite zip code. I like to segregate it so I can identify where the best properties are going to move, and that's where it needs to be. So, let's see here. Now, some of the paid ways that you guys already know, you can use listrei.com. You can use dmzack.com. We can go through them. I told you I'd give you the free ways we do it. But keep in mind, I want to look for the last few months of cash sales if you're going to use that. Now, the really cool thing about this, if you already have these subscriptions, you don't have to go out and buy one just to do this. You can use the filter options for cash buyers already in there. And I like to find the most recent data. So I'm going to look in the last 90 days. 30 days isn't going to give you a lot of information. 90 is going to give you the most recent trend. And 6 months is where most people wind up, because you can find out how many cash buyers, how many properties they bought for cash. Sorry about that. And figure out on what areas are going to work the best way. So make sure you look that up, and you're just going to filter them all out. And guys, like, here's one thing a lot of people have not really talked about is, do you know, in the old days, 2003, I used to go to my property appraiser, was it the property appraiser's office, and I used to get the master roll. I don't think they'll do this anymore. That's why I don't really press upon it. But if you have a good relationship with your property appraiser's office, and they'll let you take a thumb drive and download all the data, you can actually take that to someone, to Fiverr or somebody at Upwork, and sort that list for you. The list is going to be huge. It's all the data you want, and you can almost sort anything out from that. I don't think they're going to give it to you, but if you could do that, keep in mind, these are the same lists that PropStream, Deal Machine, Batch, everybody uses. And if you understand that up front, you can actually get the most up-to-date latest information, but it's not easy to get. In the old days, I used to do that. Now, I'm going to teach you one of the easiest free techniques to get cash buyers is often the most overlooked. This is why I've saved it to the end. So honestly, the two things I want you to remember: title company, because they have so much data. They're extremely valuable. And the one I'm going to share with you now for you wholesalers out there, which is a big one, is you're going to call on the for rent signs. Rick, why am I going to call it for rent if I'm not renting a property? Think about this for a minute. When you call on a for rent ad, if it's online, in person, on a sign, who are you calling? You're most likely calling the owner of that property, AKA the landlord. Well, Rick, what the hell am I going to say to them? Why would I call for rent sign? You're calling them to see if they're looking to pick up more rentals in that neighborhood. If they are, great. You vet them as your cash buyer, get them on your list. And when one pops up, you got one ready to go. See, if you go ahead and do this precursor step to your cash buyers, it just means you can move your properties faster and usually at a better price because you're more confident, because you have people ready and willing and able to go. So let me ask you, if as a newbie, listen, in a perfect world, you get a 90-day inspection period. The reality is they're hard to get anything. To get somebody over 30 days takes a lot of work, and usually a property needs heavy rehab. If I have a robust cash buyers list, like I'm explaining to you in this video, I can do inspection period as little as like 7 to 10 days. Why? Because I can make quick decisions. Why? Because I've already vetted my cash buyers. I know exactly what they'll pay. And I just need to get them to take action because I've already formed a relationship. All I have to do is that final execution piece. As opposed, if you go out and you just do marketing and you don't ever attend to your cash buyers list and you get 2 or 3 deals under contract, and suddenly you're very stressed out to find a cash buyer. And those 30 days can seem like they go by like in a day or two. That's why I want you to get out ahead. So calling the for rents works really well. I love the for rents. For rents, they do work because it's not a very confrontational call. And number two, 90% of them will say, hell yes, get me on your list. I want to buy more properties in that area, because they're mostly looking on MLS and they can't find the discounts. And you've got to understand that. So the next thing is you just got to have your conversations with your buyers, as we talked about it. These are conversations. You actually have to develop some rapport with them. You don't have to kiss their butt, but you have to get down to the brass tactics. Do they have money? Do you actually own 2 or more properties? Can you show me proof, either a HUD? And do you have a proof of funds? Now, I'm going to tell you, if you're brand new to this business, you're going to have to be flexible in the proof of funds, because my policy in my company, we don't give out proof of funds to the people that don't have deals ready for us. So if you don't have a deal, which is a lot of you, I'm talking to you, just let them know, listen, when I get you a deal within the next month or two, is it okay if I ask for permission to get a proof of funds from you? Most people say, yeah, sure. Why am I going to give someone a proof of funds that doesn't have a deal under contract? I don't know who I'm giving it out to, and there's no incentive for me to give it out. So I want you to be flexible. If you're a wholesaler and you don't have a deal yet, I would probably say, listen, when I get a deal, I'm just going to have to ask you for the proof of funds. Is that okay? Do you want to give that to me now or when the deal comes up? Most will tell you when the deal comes up. Honor it, respect it, and understand you'd probably do the exact same thing in their position. If you understand that, it's no big deal. So the last thing we have to understand is when we're talking to our cash buyers is you always have to understand this game is about quality over quantity. I don't know why in the last 5 to 7 years, gurus have decided, I'm going to show off and tell you I have 500 cash buyers. And then now someone's out there teaching, I have 50,000 cash buyers nationwide. Sign up for my list. It's not impressive. You might as well just scream, I am a glorified real estate dispositions agent, because that's what you are. That is not wholesaling. That has nothing to do with it. I'd rather you have 5 highly qualified cash buyers than 500 BS artists, which are mostly going to be other wholesalers. Guys, you need to know who's on your cash buyers list. Number one, you don't have time to play games when you get a property under contract. Your goal is to get that contract sold as soon as possible with the least amount of headache in the shortest period of time. That's why we want you to set up quality cash buyers. Number two, with all the laws that come out about marketing your equitable interest in the contract, it is imperative in today's age that you know who's on your cash buyers list. Your cash buyers list, most people that have big giant lists, they're riddled with wholesalers. They're riddled with realtors that want to rat you out in a heartbeat. They're riddled with real estate commissioners, people on NAR that want to rat you out. They're littered with title companies that want to rat you out. And honestly, it's probably riddled with gurus that want to tell on you because so many of them want to see wholesaling banned. So to be an effective wholesaler, you better make sure you have a quality cash buyers list, because if the rules in your area says, listen, you can do an assignment of contract, you just can't market the real estate, and you're marketing the real estate and you send it out to 500 people on a massive email blast or a text blast, you are just giving them proof to go after you. So you got to be resourceful. And if you vet your cash buyers list, you make sure everyone's legit on your list. You have a phone number, you have an email. Most people aren't going to fake it that long to be your cash buyer. Is it painful? Is it a lot of work? It takes time. It's not a lot of work. It just takes time. And once you have that list, you keep it updated, keep it refreshed, because guys, quality over quantity is the best cure to real estate. And is with all these marketing rules being cracked down on wholesaling, your cash buyer list is even more imperative, because if you get caught marketing a property, not a contract, and you send it to the wrong people, you might as well just give them a permission slip to nail you, because you just gave them the proof to nail you. And this is one of the biggest reasons. If I'm on a government agency looking to crack down on wholesalers that are selling their equitable interest and they're trying to sell the property with property picks, and I get on your email list and you keep sending it out, I don't even have to work to nail you. I just go, hey, listen, we have proof. You violated this. You owe us $1,000, and the next one's going to be $10,000. And the next one, you're going to go to jail. So the biggest cure to that is fix your cash buyers list. End of story. If you fix your cash buyers list, a lot of these problems go away. So guys, that is everything I have on cash buyers. It's really straightforward. You can get all the cash buyers you want for free. You just got to do a little bit of work, or you can use some of the paid services through listrei.com, or you can use dmzac.com. We'll also have batch. There's plenty of them. So that's a good question. I'm going to check on that. So if you have any questions. So guys, if you are brand new to this channel or you want to get started in wholesaling, do me a favor, go over to freewholesaling.com. Let me put it up here somewhere. I got it around somewhere here. I had it here. I just put it on the banner on the bottom there. So freewholesaling.com, that is a course me and my son has created. It was 100% free. It is guru free. There is no upgrades. I'm not going to hit you over the head. We give it all away for free. Gurus like to say, oh, they're going to sell you an upgrade to join Flip with Rick Plus. Flip with Rick Plus is not a requirement. It is a luxury for people that want to spend more time with us. It is a community. The only thing we give you there is more time with us, because we don't do one-on-one coaching. One-on-one coaching is for broke people that have no money, because you couldn't afford me on one-on-one coaching. It wouldn't even make sense. So the reason why I teach you, and me and Zach teach you in the freewholesaling.com, number one, is we've done this for a long time. I know what I'm doing. Number two, I'm tired of people selling courses and there is just no substance behind it. And when you buy the course, they don't let you see it and it doesn't crack out. That's why you have a 90 to 95% failure ratio in wholesaling. And the next part, the biggest part, is I actually want to teach you how to do deals. I got to give you the truth to do it. You're going to have to do some serious hard work. It's not hard to do. It's just most people make it way complicated. And once you start to do deals, I get you your first deal. I can get you your first $100,000. And then if you want to partner up and do deals with me, I do deals nationwide with people I work with. I love it. You go to sellmypaper.com, or you can do flipwithrickplus.com. But I love it because you guys get me deals. So we run a wholesaling business. Well, we're constantly flipping properties. We do this channel for content. We have the Flip with Rick. My son has his channel, Zach Ginn, and then we have the Rick Ginn channel. And we like to work together so you guys have access to talk to us. So the reason I teach wholesaling for free, and I want all gurus to get this very clear because they keep telling me I do a bait and switch. I don't. Everything I do is 100% free. If you just want to spend some more time with me after the lives and stuff like that, we offer a modest service and we answer your questions direct. I also answer your DMs and I go live 4 times a week. No other guru is going to do that. And I focus primarily on wholesaling. Now, I do creative financing. I do commercial buildings. I do apartment buildings. I love real estate. I'm a real estate junkie. I've been doing this 21 years. If you're ever going to get training for someone, make sure they're going to stick around the business. You guys know I'm going to be here. I've been here 21 years. And my son's been in the business going on 8 years, and he's 24. So the Ginns aren't going anywhere. We've always been here, and we put our name on everything we do, and that's how we operate. So go over to freewholesaling.com. That is the best way to get your start, and we can kind of go from there. So what I want to do is answer some questions, and we're going to hop on the one-on-ones here. If you want to hop on, I still got a little bit of room, and we will go from there. So that's funny. John says, a party yacht with a young, attractive woman is easy to fake. And the reason I say this is like, I don't know if it's just like a young person generation thing, but you have a bunch of YouTubers. I'm not going to name names, but they're mostly real estate. A lot of them are drop ship, stuff like that. And they want to show you the lifestyle they live, but they'll never show you how they actually run their business. And then here's one common thread every one of them has. You ready for this? High ticket sales. For 10 to 30 grand, I'll show you exactly what I do, but I'm just going to show you how I party, how I drive cars I can't afford, and how I lease out real estate I'll never own, but I look like a gazillionaire I'm doing it. To me, I think it's absolutely hysterical, but it's funny for us. Sweet Home Property Group says, thanks, Rick, for all you do for the wholesaling community. I appreciate it. As long as you guys watch, I love to give you the content. So here's a good one. Tracy says, hey, Rick, my Craigslist ads attract other wholesalers thinking I'm a cash buyer based off the ads I used. I used free wholesaling text to make ads. How do I fix this? So you have to decide what you're trying to attract, because usually what you attract is what you're going to get. So ask yourself, do you want to be a cash buyer for the properties, or do you want to do JV deals? And you've got to be very clear, because if they think you're just a straight up cash buyer. So the problem is you get a wholesaler who says they're a cash buyer, and then you got a wholesaler who says I have deals. And one's really not a cash buyer, and one doesn't really have deals. You just like waste each other's time. So what I want to do as a wholesaler is I always want to track people and do JV deals. One of the best ways is start in the comments right here on the Rick Ginn channel and find people in areas that you want to do your business either locally or virtually, and see if they want to partner up and do JV deals. Why would you ever do this? Because sometimes making some money is better than making no money. In my first 18 months, I JV'd almost 90% of what I bought. Why? I did not know how to sell and dispo my wholesale deals. Why? Because I spent all my energy on building rapport with motivated sellers. Actually, I got so good at it. I made a conscious decision. I probably wouldn't do this today, but I said, I'm going to get so good, so deep and ingrained in the marketing that I will figure out the dispo later. And I did. And eventually I JV'd people with dispo. And then at the end, I told them, I go, you got to teach me everything you know about dispo, or I'm not going to JV with you anymore. And they said, you need to show me everything you know about doing the marketing for motivated sellers. But honestly, the dispo is a heck of a lot easier than the marketing. And none of them wanted to do the marketing. I picked up the dispo pretty quick. And then I eventually hired someone out to do it. And I more than made my money. But I gave up a lot of money my first 2 years of wholesaling because I did not know how to dispo. This is where a great JV alignment occurs. I had one particular wholesaler. You all would know his name. If I said it, he's not in the business anymore because that's what most wholesalers do. But for purposes of being private, I will do them a favor not saying his or her name. But the reality is they made a ton of money off me, like a ton, hundreds of thousands. I didn't care. I really, like, I just didn't know what I was doing. So I'm like, you do all the work, I'll find the deals. But eventually the relationship flipped over. They got upset. It is what it is. That's just business 101. So what I would do is if you truly want to do JV partnerships, you need to attract another wholesaler and say, listen, I can help you make money on your deals. It's up to you what to do. Because the problem is your ads are probably trying to attract regular homeowners. And then you get wholesalers calling you off your ad. Look at your ad carefully and see what you're attracting. But here's the problem. Wholesalers call off like every type of ad that you can. A wholesaler shouldn't be calling off like a cash buyer ad. So wholesalers thinking I'm a cash buyer based off the ads I used. If your ad says, listen, I'll buy your house for cash, just like that. If another wholesaler calls you, most likely they're probably trying to JV with you. So you just have to, I would run two different types of ads. One's for end users, which are homeowners that are in distress. And then I would also run an ad to help out other wholesalers get their deals sold, partner up with me. Two heads are better than one. It is true. It works. But some wholesalers, remember, you do deal to deal. And after that, if it doesn't work out, you can move on with your life. So, by the way, my the pic of the jet behind him is probably the number one sign you're selling a high ticket product. Why do you constantly have to take a picture of a jet behind you? You don't own it. Listen, I fly Delta. Like, it would take a picture of Delta. I sit in a first class. Do you think I own the jet? I don't. Jets are big boy money. I'm not at that level, but like $50, $60 million and $1 or $2 million a year just to run the thing and keep it housed, probably not including fuel. You can't fake that stuff. So the minute they start taking pictures of the jet, it's an illusion to try to fool you. I'm happy they can lease a jet out for 20, 30 grand, but like, that doesn't mean you have any money. That just means you're a fool. Sorry. The jet is like my favorite one of them all. Like, look, I'm on a jet. I took a private jet. I'm like, just fly a commercial jet over there. What's the difference? You didn't get anything special with it. I go, that's fine. But like, listen, if you flew a private jet everywhere you went, then that's like, okay, I'll give you credit, but you don't. You just do it on occasional vacation to look like you're a baller. So, okay, I'm gonna stop talking about all those. So, okay, let me see, and then we're gonna jump on the lives here. So if you want to jump on the live, jump on now because I'm gonna cut them off. Awesome. Okay, I think I answered all the questions there. And go. Okay, let's hop on and let's do first come, first serve. Isabella, you there?
Yes.
Did I say that right?
You did. You did. How are you, Rick? Can you hear me?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I was on several months ago, just getting started. I had just begun, and you're like, and you give me great advice. Get wildly uncomfortable and just gun it. With marketing and all that. I have gotten 2 properties under contract recently.
Awesome.
Yeah, for a retired landlord. He's selling me like a little package deal, 2 for 1 basically. So I'm got my title company who works with investors, been going to the meetings, and meeting lots of buyers and just getting to know this neighborhood really well. So I'm super excited. I'm scared, SHIT-less, just because I'm up. Yeah, I haven't done this before, and my money's down to like. But
so what are you scared of exactly?
The iceberg that's right in front of me, the financial iceberg, and so I'm like really trying to steer the ship so I don't hit it. And this deal could be it because worst case I would make 10 on each property, but looking at all the comps which I'm studying now, and I've looked at over and over again. I even looked at them with some realtors. I should, if all goes well, make possibly 50 on each. I'm getting there for 75, and I could resell them for 100 because they have only like $30,000 to $40,000 worth of repairs that they need, and all the comps are in like the 160s, 170s. So, and I've been talking to people who've been buying, fixer uppers in that area, and that's what they're looking for. So, yeah,
So
but I'm just anxious because I'm your age. I'm 56, and I'm, about to hit bankruptcy if I don't make it work.
okay. So listen, so what's your strategy? Is it to sell it assignment of contract?
Yes. Yes.
So just listen, just focus on what you have at hand
Yeah.
and just take it to the finish line. And so instead of, I know you're worried about some of your financial stuff, but I want you to understand, think of when the deals go through all the good things and the doors it can open for you.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you can do this once or twice, you can do it 100 times. I'm just telling you, the skill set's the exact same. You just got to go out and find other buyers. So we're in a constant economy where people are just like, what if the worst case scenario happens? Well, what if the best case scenario happens?
Well, trust me, I do think that too. Yeah, and I'm very much like you. I have like ADHD where I think of a gazillion things at once.
Listen, you're talking my game here because that's
totally. I love your videos because
I have it. So I didn't honestly until I was like in my 40s. I'm like, there's just something different about me. I'm like, I don't need to, and I was just like, well, you see a psychologist up, and the minute I saw a psychologist, which I wasn't the biggest fan of, they're just like, man, you were like raving like ADHD.
Yes.
I'm like, I go, maybe you should have saw the environment I grew up. People always ask, are you born with ADHD or is it like something that's taught from the stress of the environment? I don't know the answer to that. I've had people try to medicate me. Yeah. I've had people try to like tame my mind. And so I've had just learn techniques and tools to work through it. I will tell you, wholesaling is one of the best fits for me, but you can have times if you stick to the core of wholesaling, you buy really good deals, it's fun and it's perfect for ADHD. If you buy crappy deals and you try to make them work, it will stress you out. And in the beginning, I let some, because I didn't understand wholesaling. I kind of did like a mixed version. And then once I got rid of my bad deals, I never went back. I only buy like really good deals. And then my marginal deals I do with reverse speed wholesaling. And I only buy them if I ever have a buyer like ready to go. So I'll do a deal where I make $2,500, but I don't pull a dime out of my pocket and the guy closes it right away. To me, that's a home run.
Oh,
so not every deal is 20, 30 grand. Sometimes you make small little things and you keep the ball rolling. So I have lots of employees to pay and I let them keep those. They do like 7 of those deals a month and it pays all the payroll. It pays all the marketing expense.
Brilliant. Yeah. And I'm quite prepared for having, these are my first wholesale deals. The seller, I got lucky. Somebody I knew. I've been working a relationship with him for a long time because I've bought properties from him in the past, but I bought them myself, seller finance through him. These he called me and said he wants to just unload, and
there you go.
Gave me first dibs. So it's not quite from my efforts. Parallel to this, I am gunning it, driving for dollars and my marketing and deal machine and all this kind of thing. But these fell in my lap simply, which I really.
But you know what? If you didn't put your intentions out there in the world, you wouldn't be standing
exactly.
in front of the guy.
Exactly.
So
they may be great deals. They also may be, I may find 2 buyers, both of them who want to buy them for 80, 85. Well, that's 10 each, and that's still, that's an enormous amount of money, given that I'm down to like under 500.
Take the same energy you got to get the deal, no matter how it came in your lap, and go get the cash buyers for it.
I am, yes.
And just get going and like start thinking about like everything that can go right, because that's the problem with ADHD is sometimes when you do have tough times, like we make it worse, right? We're like,
oh yeah, that terror gets triggered. You're just like, oh
yeah. So it's so like one of the things I do to people like, how do you deal with your ADHD? I go, number one, I understand that things come and go in life. So we've been around long enough to understand there's good times and there's bad times. This too shall pass, one of my favorite sayings. And then I've also studied from like the great Roman empires, like Stoicism, because
the Stoics. I heard you mention that the other day.
Yeah, because Stoicism is almost counterproductive to what ADHD does. ADHD is all about the immediate reaction and like your emotions and like move. And stoicism is the complete opposite. You don't
Yeah.
react. You have to think things over, and you have to make an internal decision without discussing it with anyone else. It's hard to do, but like it works really well. But
Yeah.
the one thing I learned with stoicism is it's like working out. It takes like a year to adapt it because
Mhm.
um, it's a form of psychology, and so I'm a go fast person, um, high stimulus, um, and stoicism's the opposite. So I struggled horribly when I first did it, and then I started. One of the things I learned from it was how to meditate. It's
Mhm.
still a struggle for me today, but I will tell you this: simple meditation is one of the best things you can do for ADHD because you have to be in your mind. You have to train your mind to calm down, and it'll be okay if I don't give you something to do. And you teach it like you do a dog or a cat.
Yeah.
Very hard to do it. Honestly, when I first do it, I couldn't go 3 minutes. So I can do a solid 20 to 30 minutes, but I still have to work on it.
Yeah.
And once you can learn to do it, go, if I can put, so it's like putting your mind in timeout. It is a discipline and it's hard to do.
It's putting time in time out.
It is.
You
And
know, it's like I have to stop
ADHD,
everything
the
around
last
me
thing
and
we
be
want
like,
to do is like just sit there and soak.
I just want to
Um,
be in this moment right now. And it's putting time in my running brain. That's what's in time out. Like,
I do,
whoa.
but like
Yeah.
here's the one thing I've learned. I
Lovely.
can't control what happens in the future.
Mhm.
I can only predicate the things I do to make it better. So the anxiety is never going to help me.
Mhm.
I don't need to talk to you about depression, what's happened in the past. Like it's like I had a hell of a year this last year. Like
Yeah.
I lost my mom, I lost my sister, like devastating stuff. And I learned that by being in the present, either by meditating or being grateful, it has the greatest impact and the greatest fulfillment. If I go on either side, the past or the future, I can't control it. And the ADH thing like spirals out of control. So I work through it. Um, my wife's been a big help with it. And I just try to enjoy every day
Relate.
because it's just I've been through
Yeah.
it. So I love wholesaling because like when I do one thing and I'm like laser focused, I go all in. So take
Okay.
that energy, get your cash buyers, maximize these deals, and then come back on here and we'll walk through. And I'll show you didn't get lucky because once you put your intentions out in the universe and you actually take actions towards it, stuff just starts happening in that direction.
Oh, I believe that too. I'd love to tell you the story, not take up people's time now, but I'd love to tell you how I got these ones just because it's been a really
No, go
interesting
ahead.
two,
Tell
three
me real
year.
quick.
Well, this is, I've also had a really bad last couple of years. I've lost so many things and people. It's just been horrible.
Yeah.
And in one moment of loss, I had a moment of despair that I drove around here. I'm in my mom's house and I drove around here thinking, well, gosh, what if I can't go back to my own house because I'm losing my house and my husband and all that. And I
Mhm.
saw a house with a little itty bitty bitty for sale by owner sign. And just
Uh,
out of the blue, I just called him up and he was ready to meet me there. And it's from there, I had a wonderful conversation saying, look, man, I'm up against the wall, but I can do this kind of stuff. And he's like, look, I'm just trying to slowly get out of real estate, but it can pay. He was just wonderful with his wonderful Southern accent. Like, well, it'll really pay for itself as you really get. And so anyway, he worked with me and helped me buy that first house, even though he had a cash buyer right behind me. It took a
wow.
bit more working. And then from then it's just been, I'm so great. I'm so aware, I'm so much older now. So I'm super aware that the time he gave me was incredible gift. So
Yeah.
every time I send them a little payment, it's cards, it's everything, and I really do tend to my relationship with them out of gratitude. And he's also said, eventually I might have four. I have several others to sell you. So sure enough, the next year he called me up. He had another, and we worked through that one. Again, still him working with me, knowing that I was probably his least favorite buyer since I was so new and I'm kind of all over the map. I was in the middle of a divorce. I'd lost some students. I had all these deaths around me. I lost my house, tornadoes, moving to Virginia. I mean, everything. So I like the
Yeah.
most unstable person in practice. But anyway, he's been wonderful. So I continued to do that until just last week they called and said, hey, Isabel, we got 2 more properties and you're the first on the list. Would you like to buy them? And so that was, yeah. So it wasn't just random, but it was very gratifying and it's very reassuring. This time, however, he wants all cash. I'm tired of financing because he did the other so I'm working on, writing the right contract. Got a great title company to help me for that. and a series of different buyers. I have a lot of buyers that want to know what the address is right away, which I haven't given because I lost deals that way before.
Yeah, just make sure it's under contract. Which market are you in, if you don't mind me asking?
Not at all. I'm in Petersburg, Virginia.
Got it. Okay.
It's south of Richmond.
So first of all, Isabel, I'm just telling you, you're in the right place.
Yeah.
You can survive with ADHD without driving you crazy. I just give like little. I'm not an expert on it, but like I was diagnosed so late in life. Because I'm gonna go. There's just something different about me. I tell my wife, I go. She goes, there is something different about like when you go all in on something, you're crazy, but sometimes you go down the wrong alleys, and that's where like I have to work on it. So, but like I believe we're all in the right place at the right time for the right reason, and all I can do is you have to be grateful for what you have, and you have to realize what you have, because you and I both realize like we've lost a lot of really good stuff.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, people always like, money. Like, trust me, you need to make money, but money won't make you happy at the end of the day. Happy is a choice, and you got to find the things that dictate in your life that will be congruent with what makes you happy.
Yeah.
So it's, I've never done wholesaling to be the richest guy. Actually, I tried at one point. I pushed so hard. I was miserable. I made a ton of money, and I had 17 employees, and I hated every minute of it, because you might as well just go get a corporate job. So now I still work. I work 3 to 4 hours a day. I've been doing this a long time, so it's mostly with employees and everything. But if I want to go fishing, if I want to spend time with my kids, so I just took my adult children to Europe for a month while I worked. Now, it wasn't the easiest thing to do in the world, but like I had a vision, and it didn't quite work out. But I was like, we just had fun. And like the funniest things, the things we spent the most money on, we didn't have the most fun. And the things like we spent no money on, we had more fun. Like we hiked up a mountain one day and just hung out with it. Like it was just really cool.
Yeah.
And you just realize those little moments in life, like why we do what we do. And I've helped out so many people through wholesaling, homeowners, like people like you.
Yeah.
And I just, at one point I go, I think just God's put me in the right place, because I was well on my way to be a guru, and my conscience took over. I go, I can't do this. Like, these people are being scammed. I can't charge $20,000 to teach wholesaling, because it doesn't take that long. The reality is you learn the basic skill set, and you either do it or you don't.
Yeah.
So when I taught my son how to do it while he was in high school, he's like, why don't we teach other people? I go, I'm not going to charge those fees. It's like, you're going to see So he goes, so much. He goes, what if I could show you how to do social media? Just teach everyone for free, and we get deals off of, like, show me. And so I had to let a 17-year-old kid like kind of show me the way, which I was fine with. And the rest is history. We've been doing this, going on 4 or 5 years now, and enjoy it. So
I love your videos, both of you together, because I have a son who's 18, and he's been watching a little bit of this, but he wants to see me produce. And then he'll be like, okay, it's for real, Mom.
So the one thing I always say is, being a parent, especially a father, is
you got to model
our kids. Well, I think Marcus Aurelius says it back. This back to Stoicism. He says, stop talking about the man you want to become, and just be the man.
Exactly.
And that's so the best thing I tell with kids is, like, you can't tell your kids not to drink and sit there and pick up a drink on Friday and Saturday night. Like you're confusing the crap out of them. So your kids watch what you do. They hear what you say, but they know what you do. And that was the biggest path I led. And so I have a daughter too. She's in the medical field, and she just got her doctorate. It's one of the reasons we took on a celebration. But your kids watch what you do.
Sure.
And we're a society where we all tell everybody what we're going to do. So, like, perfect example, if people want to go on a diet and lose weight, stop announcing it to the world and just show the world.
Yeah.
It has a much more profound impact. One day I decided, I just wasn't drinking anymore. It doesn't serve me. Trust me, I'm not a hypocrite. But, and then people ask me all the time, like, why don't you drink? I go, like, that's just my choice. That's what I want. I'm not a hypocrite.
That's a non-frightening or threatening conversation with your child, because it's one based on you doing what's best for your health. inspiring them to want to do what's best
Yeah.
for their health.
I know,
Leading
trust
by example is amazing.
yeah,
So
so
I was their principal in high school, my kids, and
wow. Oh my
something
god,
else. And they
mom's the
saw me
principal.
just like, it was talk about a marathon. It was
Yeah.
nonstop. No, it was
So
brutal.
we come from a long line of educators, my wife
Yeah,
does too. So it's like
yeah.
we went through a real struggle when we're talking about putting the kids through college. I mean, a real struggle. And I shared everybody publicly. I went through it, and Zach got through one of the most intense colleges like fast as he could
Oh,
while he did
yeah.
wholesaling. And it was like, he's, why do I need to be in college? I'm like, oh God, just finish it for your mother. And now I tell people now, I go, you have to make a decision. You can't just do it just to make your parents happy. There's enough information in the world now. If you want to be a business person, I just don't know if college is the best.
Is
There's
as
still value to
necessary.
college. Don't get me wrong, but the
Yeah.
cost of college and the stuff people go through, the amount of kids on Ritalin and all this stuff to study, and then the other drugs they do to come down. It's just like, this is why you have the 55% unemployment rate out of college. It's just,
Oh, my two girls started college, and they said it was so unbearable for them, mostly
yeah,
because a lot of the kids who were there were educated by their parents, were like, yeah, go party. It's like summer camp for teenagers kind of
yeah,
thing. And they said it was just gross, even though it's fun, but it was
yeah,
gross. And there was nothing really they were learning. And so my
yeah,
son, who's graduating right now from high school, we're not even playing the game of applying for schools and whatever. He's going straight out to join his sisters, and they're all producing. They're really doing interesting things, and they know what I'm doing. My thought is that what I'm doing, they can do too, and they can fund the life that they love to work in the forestry, and they climb up
yeah,
and down trees and cut them down, work with Trees for Life, all these nonprofits. There's no money in it, but there's great joy. I was
yep,
like, look, guys, I'm going to start it. And then with you, once I can show it to you, or I can do it for you so that you can work at what you want without having to worry about what you're earning or not earning,
yeah. It's a
So
different world. So
super excited. But yeah, I had my son watch a lot of your videos, yours and Zach's about college, and your one about don't go to college. It's kind of my
yeah, I
story.
know, because I was the one stuck in the middle. So I did it.
I did
But
it.
back then we didn't have a lot of good advice.
No, we didn't. Our
I
parents didn't
definitely, I
know,
did,
and there was
I
no
did
access
not,
to good
yeah,
advice.
I did not
Yeah.
have a male role model in my life.
Yeah.
So a lot of my struggles, to be honest, was from the lack of a father. So
Yeah.
I have a father, but like
Yeah.
that's another story. But
Yeah.
so
Same
now,
here.
knowing everything we know now, do you know trade schools are
Oh,
making more money out of people in trade schools are making more money than people coming out of college now?
well, I was principal at a high school, and I was pushing for trade schools and
Yeah,
trying to get all these programs going. I got so pushed aside by the
yeah,
board and the parents because they're like, what are you telling my child? They're going to Yale to study medicine, this kind of thing. It was like,
no.
and it's like, heaven
It's
forbid you
tough.
should
Like,
suggest that there are other ways
yeah.
the other roads lead to Rome.
But keep in mind, my daughter went the medical route, and even the starting salary after getting your PhD is like around $120,000. Now, they give up a lot to do that, like
Yes.
7 years of their life. I'm just like, my God, I made that last month. Like I made that more than like the last 2.5 weeks. And I look at the cost of living, especially in Florida. It's just like, I don't know. I mean, we're in trouble in this society because there's only so much money you can make, and with AI coming to
Yeah.
replace a lot of people, you're really gonna have to think of like highest and best value, because trading your time is just, which
Yeah.
is college is all about trading your time. I just don't think it's going to work out. It's for doctors,
It's
lawyers,
for really specific.
engineers. That's the trade
Yeah.
school for it. Now,
Yeah.
outside of that, unless you go to like the business school of Wharton, and I don't even know if it would cost so much money. I just met with someone the other day. She's a teacher with the University of Miami. $260,000 to be a school teacher. I'm just like, what were you thinking? Like, did anything go off in your
Oh,
like?
that she
And I love
paid?
teachers.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
but like to go to a private school and do all that stuff, it's nuts. And I tell kids right now, okay, listen, if you want to go to college, here's the deal: stay at home, go online, and work through it. Just get it done as fast as you can, because they don't care. Nobody knows if you got the degree online or you actually went to the campus.
Yeah.
So,
And it's when you're a young parent with kids, you don't know what you and I know,
I know.
and so you're scared. You don't take that
I
risk.
know.
But anyway, he's jumping straight into things, and then we'll figure out college later. high school doesn't wait for you. You have to graduate by a certain age, but a college
No.
degree
I
will
just
wait
wish
for
they
you for
taught more
years,
practical
Yeah,
classes in high school about just simple,
I tried.
financial, how to
I
keep a
tried.
budget.
Yeah, but they didn't
Um,
want to hear it. They didn't want to hear it. It's a
well, a
private
lot of
school.
parents aren't teaching it anymore
Yeah, it's
anyways,
like
and
that
that's the problem.
cartoon of the mother, very well-dressed mother, coming out of the music studio with her child who plays the violin, and they
Yeah.
go out into the street, and there's a guy in the street playing the violin with his case open to trying to make some money, and she's like, she doesn't want her son to see that. So
Yeah. No, it's like the biggest brag you see out there is like, what college did my kid go to? I'm just like, because the crazy thing is I've noticed as a parent is the minute the kid graduates college, what do most parents do? They're like, okay, figure it out. You're on your own now. It's just like,
and then they
and then
knock
you
at
go
your
through
door.
that 10-year slide of them living in the
Yeah,
basement and stuff like that. And our job
yeah.
as a parents is to put us out of being a parent and just being support.
Hmm.
And you got to start at you really got to start programming at 15, 16. Like, okay, what are we going to do? What's the
Right.
plan? And I
So
don't know.
I've made this the plan because I was I was the principal. I was in their high school. I was
Yeah.
watching all this madness, and we all checked out of it. My son's been doing online school since, and
Yep.
we're like yeah.
Yeah.
It's impossible to direct other people. It's movements are just too hard, but
Yeah.
you
And
can do it
as
for
you know, in the
yourself.
United States right now,
Yeah,
you can do your child in the online studies. So both my kids graduated with their AA degree when they got out of high school.
yeah,
So I just gave them a head start. It's like I go, listen, just read the rules. And then
yeah,
I had my kids apply for all the grants and everything. And here's the other deal with my kids. They paid for their school on their own with their education.
yeah. That's
I
awesome.
never paid a dime. Like,
Yeah, same here. And
I'm like, hey,
now
here's the
they're
deal.
both
And then
out. They
yeah,
work for conservation corps.
yep.
My girls. They wear hard hats and they rappel up trees, cutting limbs down, and
Oh
working with
man.
Navajo Nation for their trees and all this crazy stuff because that's where they're pulled to work to help. And so I'm like, you know what? I had got your back. I'm going to get this wholesaling going so that
Okay.
you can do that.
Well,
Anyway,
get it going. Go get some cash buyers. Jump back on here and we'll talk.
yeah,
And
I'd love
I
to be in
love your
touch with
story.
you. If I can DM you, I'm not sure quite how that works because I'm a bit of a Gen X, but I'll look for you on the Flip with Rick Plus somewhere.
Yeah, do
See how I
that.
can chat
And
more with
I'm
you.
always on here on Mondays. So
Okay,
either way,
I'll
you
do
can get a
that.
hold of me. Okay.
Alrighty. Thank you,
Okay,
Rick.
Isabel. Good luck with everything. See you.
Thank you. Appreciate
No
it.
problem. Bye. Dave, what's the word, man? What's going on?
Hey, what's up, Rick? Happy belated Father's Day. How you doing?
Oh, good, man. How are you doing?
Good, good. A little bit under the weather, though. You can hear it in my voice. But what you said about that Marcus Aurelius quote about don't say it, be it.
To me, I think it's one of the most powerful quotes out there because
Yeah.
in the day of social media, everybody wants to tell you what they're going to do.
Yep.
and nobody does it. So suppose you get someone who actually does it, and then people are like, what are you doing? What's so different about you? And so somehow in society, this stuff was put out over 2,000 years ago.
Right.
And it is more prevalent today than ever. And like I had a massive shift 7 years ago when someone's like, just stop talking about being the man, just become the man and then let people notice it. And I can't stand when people go, well, I met with someone the other day. I'm not going to mention their name, but they might be a father figure. He had to tell me like how much weight he lost. I'm like, first of all, I don't see it.
Right.
And number two, the fact you have to tell me it just means like you want to get credit for it.
Right.
And so I love Stoicism because it's about being humble, which is I've learned the hard way. Trust me, dude.
I'll say I have 3 kids.
Yeah.
Similar in range. I have a 25-year-old daughter, 20-year-old son, and I have one at home still, almost 17. And I've been talking entrepreneurship my whole life.
Yeah.
But it's been up and down all over the place, nothing consistent.
Uh-huh.
I've also been a teacher for the last 15 years, professor at a college. So
there we go.
I just ended that. And so I'm guilty of being the guy who does a lot of talking without doing a lot of being. So I'm just going to
we've all done it.
I'm 55 in July here, so I've got to make a change, and that's why I wanted to get on this call today.
Awesome, man. So what can I help you out with? You got a question for me?
Yeah. So I'm a total noob. I mean, I've been following you and Zach for a while, but I'm pulling the trigger starting today. I just actually my trial just ended with DM Zach, so I paid for it. I'm going to use the deal machine.
Okay.
And I'm in Northern California, Chico. I don't know if you're familiar. It's about an hour and a half north of Sacramento.
Okay.
And the house prices are, over the limit that you suggest. They're 458. I looked it up here. It's 465, 411, according to Zillow. And there's a lot of people still wholesaling here. I know. So I guess what I want to do with you is I have a plan in my head. I just want to vet it real quick and see if you agree or want to modify it.
Okay, shoot.
So I'm doing Chico in Northern California, and then I also am from Richmond, Virginia, and I have a sister there who wants to work with me. So I'm going to do virtual in Richmond, Virginia, kind of near Petersburg, where Isabel is.
Richmond's wonderful.
Right. And then, of course, Northern California as well, because I want to do the driving for dollars. And
that's where you reside, right?
Yeah, I live in Northern California.
Got it.
So my plan is really simple because I think I have ADHD. I've never been diagnosed, but my mind you guys give me instructions. I watch your videos too much, and you'll give you those little 14-day plans where do day 1, day 2. Like,
yeah,
those are the kinds of things that I really need. But I get overwhelmed with should I start here? Should I start there? So what my plan is, very simply, get in the car with deal machine, drive. And then number 2, cold calls from 2 to 7. And that's it. And then, but do that here in California. But I'm worried a little bit because of the market, the cost of the market. Like if I was trying to bring a deal to you, for example, with my JV and with you guys, would you buy in Northern California or?
I got to look at the area closely.
Right.
So I do have a lot of partners in California. They're your state's so damn big and spread out.
Yeah. Well, I want to get out of here, but I'm kind of stuck for the time being for another year or 2.
Yeah. I'll have to take a look at it. Right. My suggestion is just get started. Right. The driving for dollars. I've always loved driving for dollars. They're the best list you can get. And you're doing exactly what I recommend. Like, always be active in your local market. You don't need to take down every deal. But if you do that and you understand the skill sets of wholesaling and you can apply them to Richmond, Virginia with some help, with some boots on the ground, it should be a very nice compliment for you. Like,
she's a little wishy-washy. She's a lot older than I am. And so it's hard to get her to consistently do anything. So I feel like I'm just going to have to be the guy doing the virtual driving for dollars.
But you're somewhat familiar with Richmond though, right?
Well, that's where I was born and raised. Yeah. So I went to high school.
So, family's not always the best mix. Like sometimes family are the hardest people to get work for you, but at least you know the area enough that if you had to get somebody to go look at something, like you can make it happen. Because it's hard when you go into a market, you have no ties, no nothing. You can still hire people to do it, and you can still do it in this case. Sometimes, honestly, it's easier to pay someone to do something $50 than have a family member hold it over your head forever, or have them say they're going to do it, but they never actually do it.
There are some people that I might be able to reconnect with back in Virginia, old friends.
You just got to identify and qualify the deals, and then just see if they have legs. Because the hardest thing in a virtual market is it's not really finding the motivated sellers. It's like trying to figure out, is that a deal in today's current market there? And most people have to go through 5 or 6 deals to even figure that out. You should be well ahead of that learning curve. And that's the beauty of working somewhere where you're at least familiar with the market, the streets. You kind of know, I'm not going to mess in this neighborhood. It's a waste of my time. This neighborhood's too expensive. Here's where I need to be. So
yeah, well,
I think it's perfect. It's going to take a commitment. The cold calling is going to be your biggest challenge because it's time consuming and it takes a lot of discipline to do it.
Well, I have, like you, I have a bit of a sales background. I've done a lot of it, but I'm rusty on it because I did teaching for the last 15 years and didn't really do the sales as much. But I know I can get on the phone and talk to people. Yeah. My concern is getting started. Like, I want to do high volume, but you always say quality over quantity. Like, I know I could pull lists off of DM Zach, right? And get high equity or whatever and make a big list. But I might be dialing through so many that it wouldn't be, just be frustrating.
Well, you'll learn when you get through it. But remember, you do have to have, in the beginning, when you have nothing, you do have to have quantity.
Okay.
It serves multiple purposes. Number one, it creates more opportunities. And number two, it teaches you the art of talking to people. And the third thing I'm going to talk to you about is don't worry about the whole sales background and stuff. It doesn't matter. Like,
Right.
I came from a very strong sales background. Like that's all I did in corporate America. And I will tell you, I don't use the word sales training in wholesaling because
Right.
we don't sell. We specialize in marketing.
Right.
The negotiating part is a skill set you just pick up over time. But if you're identifying the right type of motivated sellers, there's no magic word you're going to say to have them sell you your property.
Right.
Like
I guess I wasn't, hopefully I didn't sound like I was bragging. I was just saying that it's more comfortable. I'm just comfortable a little bit on, doing a few hours of cold calling.
Yeah.
And I agree. I'm not going to try to force anybody to do anything.
No, you can't because it doesn't work. I've tried it. You gotta get really good at the marketing, and that's the first and foremost, and get it rolling. And listen, when you start in wholesaling, it's like pushing a boulder uphill. It takes a lot of effort. And the more stuff you can throw out at the beginning just to get the momentum or whatever it is, just get it going. Because after a while, it'll start to go downhill, and it's just like a boulder.
You're saying it's cool to do. So if I do driving for dollars in California, even outside would you say even outside of my Chico's about 100,000, 80,000 when the students are gone because it's like college now. Do you I guess I need to find the cash buyers, but there are some towns that are like 30 minutes away, and we're all pretty close to Sacramento, so they're all kind of like commuter towns in somewhat to Sacramento.
You just got to find people with problems. It's not hard to find.
Doesn't even matter. Okay.
Yeah, because remember, real estate is nothing more than the math equation of wholesaling. Like when you find out what the people's problems are and you talk them through on how you can get them out of it and get them like on and get their house sold, that's all we do. So we don't really sell them. I used to call it sales training, and then someone reminded me, I'm like, I don't think you're doing sales training. I think you're just a really good qualifier. I'm like, you know what? That makes sense because, as I said, if I worked in a dealership and 100 people walked in, my boss would expect me to try to close 100 people. Wholesaling is the opposite. When I work with 100 people, I'm only trying to work with like 2 to 5 of those people.
Right. No,
so I don't spend my effort trying to close every one of them.
No, I think I got the point. I'm not.
Yeah, I got it.
Well, I shouldn't have even brought it up. But
no, I know. But I think your plan's fine. Driving for dollars, you can never go wrong with driving for dollars.
Right. It's just the whole pulling the list thing. I want to do that, but I'm just afraid I'm going to do that. That, like you said, like, for example, code violations, that might take me 2 weeks or 3 weeks before I build the rapport with the people at the front desk, et cetera, et cetera. But I want to be able to pull a lot of numbers, get on the phone, and then churn through a lot of get experience is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but that's not hard to do it. Just even like through dmsac.com, you can, your 10,000 leads, like even if you can't fill it with your local list or your virtual list, you can easily fill it with, high equity.
Right. So between the vacant properties is the earned portion where I'm seeing the ugly houses there.
Yeah.
And then online, I'm pulling the ones that everyone's pulling, but between the two of them, I can get a lot of volume. That's my plan. That's what I'm trying to vet with you. I'm just so new that I have to talk it out in like you said like being ADHD, sometimes you have to make decisions in your own head. I have a real hard time with that. That's why I wanted to get on this call just so I could say, this is what my plan is. It's nothing, like
I think your plan's fine. I would start working on those lists right away because you got to see what kind of quantity you can get, so you can figure out how you're going to decipher through your cold calling goals. So it's based on the amount of the list. Once you do the list, you skip trace, and then it's just, okay, I got X amount of hours a day. There's 5,000 people on the list. It's just a math problem, and then I just got to be disciplined to get through it. So I'd start working on your list like right now, like everything you can to get them going.
Right.
And then you can figure out your action plan to get going with cold call. Listen, I give you credit. Most people avoid cold calling. They're scared to death of it. The people that just cut through it, get some deals, get some money in your bank account, and then you can train other people to do the stuff you've already done.
Don't get me wrong. I'm scared of it. I know that from my experience, if I can just drive for dollars, I've got time. I have a little bit of savings, so I can go out during the day and drive for dollars for 3 or 4 hours. I don't know how big of a list I can get in that amount of time, and then
get your list put together this week. It shouldn't take that much time. The government list, get the ones, what I call the low hanging fruit ones, the ones you can get easily.
Yeah.
And then the other ones require some work, and then go through either deal machine or prop or batch, whatever you want to do.
The easy ones are what, like pre-foreclosures and
pre-foreclosures are easy. The eviction list is easy.
eviction. Yeah.
I would do code violations after that.
Not so easy though, right?
The water shutoff's usually a nightmare, just being honest with you.
Right.
And then you can do fire damage properties, but depending on the size in your area, sometimes they're not that big of a list. So
Right.
once you get that, those are your priority ones. And then you can start go, okay, I'm either going to use deal machine or prop stream to fill like vacant properties. And then I'm going to go and use Rick and Zach's high equity filter to fill in the balance of them. And then you go, okay, I got 5,000 leads here. Here's how I'm going to split them up. And then you got to do it. That's the hard part. Because everyone's like, yeah, I'm going to call 300 people a day. I'm like, you missed 2 days.
Right.
You're 600 behind. It's like, it's hard to make it up for one person.
Right.
So like I would focus on your list and get your list.
Okay.
And I would have something no later than Thursday or Friday. So you have your plan rolling forward.
And would you say the first thing would just be driving for dollars?
Yeah, it's an easy one.
Right. All right, man. That's all I need to hear. I'll call you back in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, like go do it today or tomorrow and like just fill it up and just call. Like the whole thing with wholesaling is you just have to start. If you wait till everything's perfect, it will never be perfect.
Well, that has
just
been my
go.
curse. That's where I get the talk a lot, don't do anything.
Yeah.
And
So
today,
just go do the driving for dollars. Go, listen, I'm going to do 250 driving for dollar leads this week. And then I'm going to get to the point to get the government lists I can get. And then I'll have that list compiled. And then I'll figure out by this weekend what I'm going to do as a filler to get me through the rest of the month.
okay.
You just got to have a plan. So you got to have to come up with a weekly plan, then one to get by this month. And then you can start looking at quarters once you start getting all your lists and like getting all that stuff. But like most people just, oh, I'm going to wait till the first of the month, wait till it's no, just do the driving for dollars. My first 2 deals came from driving for dollars, just getting in a car and finding an ugly house.
Right.
And it like gave me all the muster to go out and find like more deals I could like pay for some lists and stuff like that. But everybody's got to start somewhere. Just the driving for dollars is honestly one of the easiest ways to do it. People they don't think it's very glamorous. That's why they don't do it.
I mean, and from what I understand from just listening to you, they're on par with the quality of code enforcement lists. I mean, because you're Johnny on the spot, you're seeing the mess firsthand.
I would take a driving for dollars list that had 300 leads that like you or me personally put our eyes on distressed property,
right,
as opposed to a 10,000 lead list of like a high equity. The 300 list will be tenfold the better one.
Okay.
Remember, because when I pull just a blind list, it's a crapshoot to a point. When you do a driving for dollars, your statistical odds go up 10 times.
Mm-hmm.
Just go, hey, the property looks ugly. Nobody wants an ugly property. Nobody says, I choose to have the ugliest house in the neighborhood. Life happens, crap happens to them, and they want to get it fixed, but not everybody has the means to fix it. That's where you and me come in. So go do your driving for dollars, get it started, and hop back on next week. And then let's work on a long-term plan.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Rick.
Okay, man. You got it. See ya. So guys, anybody can go out there and do wholesaling, get started. If you want to learn how to do this, freewholesaling.com. Make sure you hop on there. And as usual, guys, if you got value from the day, do me a favor, make sure you smash that like button. Hit that subscribe button so other people can find this channel, the Rick Ginn channel. Make sure they share the Zach Ginn channel. And tomorrow I'll be on Flip with Rick. God only knows how long me and Zach are going to go for, but we got some really fun stuff lined up. Some cold calling, some surprise calling. Yes, it'll be live, and would join us. I think we'll be on for like at least 2 or 3 hours on there. So if you want to hop on, have a conversation, let's do it. And I'll see you guys tomorrow, man. Make sure you hit that subscribe button.